Hello again folks, and welcome to part 2 of the DANSETTE popular record player. Right, basically what we're going to do now, we're going to remove the motor. I'm going to remove the motor, and that's accomplished by removing these 3 circlips and washers. And I'll also be able to tell the condition of the grommets as well, and looking at that one I think I'm going to be replacing them. So I'll put them there, and if I remove the motor it means I don't have to mess about on wiring it. And there we go, put that there, because we're going to pull the knobs off, take the knobs off, put them back up there out of the way. I want to keep them knobs safe. I'm going to give them a good clean. Oh, pardon me folks, got a bit of a cough today. Right, let's lift the entire unit out of the case, and I can actually, at this point, I can actually put the case away, because I don't need the case now, because it's easier to work on the bench as well now. I can put the case, oh, look how tidgy that is. Now, there we go. Now, yes, let's see. Well, that's the motor. And these wires, by the way, folks, I thought are melted. Let's pull that washer off there. These wires I thought are melted. I actually didn't. I looked on the video and they were already melted. So it wasn't me that did that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn the mechanism back the right way round. Just rescue these washers and support that there. That toe now can be put there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the actual mechanism unit, because it's got to be lubricated. So, and I'm going to replace those grommets. They look a bit nasty, and I've got some. The ones I've got are not new, but they're damn sight better than the ones that are on that. So we'll get them replaced, and take this idler off, because I don't want to get any foreign bodies on that. I'll put that in there. There we go. That'll all be cleaned anyway. And this nasty spring, we'll get that off. I've got a replacement for that as well, so we'll get that off. Put that in there for now, out of the way. There we go. And look at that. Now I can put that amplifier unit out of the way now. Now what we're left with now, let's move my Gorilla Glue. What we're left with now, move that centre spindle at 45 RPM adapter. What we're left now folks, we're left with the actual mechanism that has your speed controller, and this is all a bit stiff, and it's got grease in there and it's still thingy, but I'm going to replace it because I just think it's not nice. And that spring went through that hole there. Went through that little hole there just above that grommet. That's where that spring goes. Even though there's glue in that, well, it's not glue actually, it's hardened grease. So that'll be cleaned off, and the spring will be rerouted back through that where it should go. All this will be cleaned, and all this is actually going to get stripped and cleaned. I've not worked out. That's just the on and off. It's just a neutral switch, and that there. Now, and this is actually quite a simple task, and what I'll do, I'll use the turntable to store the bits, including all this lot. So the turntable, drive drum, everything will be getting cleaned before it goes back together, so I can use the turntable to store all the bits, which is what I generally do when I do a record player. I store all the bits, whether I'm keeping them or not. Store all the bits. These grommets can come off. Do that. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take first of all, disconnect this spring. Put that there. That spring is very important. That spring can't get lost. Pull that off there. Well, that came off easy enough. I thought I was going to have to pull the circlip off, but I obviously haven't had to. Now, I'm going to have to take the knob off. Now, remove the circlip carefully from the centre. Now I'll put that circlip there. Now this, there's a, oh, look at that folks, you have to watch out for that. Put that there. There's a little ball bearing. Right, so I'll pull all that off, I'll put that there. Oh, look at this, all this neutral stuff, all this comes out. All this comes out now, and we're actually, that washer's stuck on. I wonder if it's, there we go. And that spring. Right, that spring I think goes on somewhere here, or does it? Oops, oh, there's another ball bearing up there folks, I didn't see that. The other ones just fell through a hole in the, oh no, it's there. They can't fall through the holes, leave them there, I know where they are then. Right, now this, there we go, look at that. That slides off. There's no need, I don't think, to, I don't know what that, right. Yep, I'm going to take that off. I'll tell you why. I'm going to take that off, because I think I might have to lubricate it. There again, I might be able to drop a bit of oil down it. So, we've got the little bit there that the idler goes on. I'll tell you what, you know, don't make stuff like this now. If I undo that screw, is that an adjustment screw? Yeah, that adjusts the height of the idler. Look at that folks, that does actually adjust the height of the idler. But I know where the height was. There we go. Because the screw wasn't all the way down. About there. And that adjusts the height of the idler. Now what I'm going to do now folks, I'm going to clean all this because it's got grease on it, which is how old? Yeah, we don't know. But I'm going to get a cloth. I've got no isopropyl alcohol, so I'm going to have to just wipe everything. But the grease is actually... I've got no degreaser either. Don't think I have. There's a little washer there. Let's get that out. Little pressure washer. It's bent in a position, so that's going to come out. Right, I'm going to go through. I'm going to just pause this because I'm going to go and clean the parts in the kitchen. Hello, folks. And we're back onto the DANSETTE, the DANSETTE Popular, and I've got the mechanism all stripped down, and I'm going to grease it and reassemble it. And I'm going to start. Let's get my trusty applicator. I'm going to start with the centre spigot. Start with a spigot, which is this bit most people call the spindle. So we're going to start with that, get some grease on there. There we go, look. Don't need too much because a little goes a long way. Right, I went to my friend earlier and got some grease from him, and get a cloth and wipe off the excess. Well, that's lovely. Now put the circlip on. Hang on a minute, I think we actually have this one on here as well. Yep. That one belongs to that. Yep. That's it. That's the centre spigot back on. Now we'll start building up the rest of the mech, and we'll grease it as I'll grease it as I assemble it. Now this bit here I don't understand, because this is the speed change mechanism, but what they've done, they've gone for straight cut valleys. I think they should really have cut them valleys on a V, but they're actually straight, and the ball is supposed to ride across them, but it has difficulty, and I'm hoping it has difficulty because it needs to be greased. I'm hoping that there's, I mean, it was designed like this, so it should work. Now I'll put a bit of grease on the shaft. Give that a bit of grease. I don't want to get it all over it. Well, I want to get it in the parts it needs to be. But now, now get a bit of grease on in all this. Now I'm going to pack this with grease because I've got a feeling that that is why it was playing up. Now I'm going to put that down there for a second, because I need to fit and grease. Let's wipe a bit of that off, don't need all that. In fact, do you know something, folks? I've had a better idea. Why don't I just use my tool? There, like that, look. Just grease that, and it will grease the thing on its way down. Put that in the other end. There we we go. We've now got grease all the way through that. Let's wipe off the excess. Let's get the cloth. There we go. Now, the next bit is to let's just bring the camera a bit further over this way. Alright, there we go. Right, next bit is to fit the ball bearing and the spring. Now, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pop a bit of grease into the hole there, and then drop the ball bearing in. Accompanied by the spring. Then I'm going to pop the other ball bearing on the top. Followed by the on-off controller. Right, and then I'm gonna pop on the circlip. Now, let's turn that clip around a bit. There we go. Clip the clip on. Right, that's the clip on. That's the neutral working. Off, on. That's working. Now the next bit. Let's move all this up here a bit. There we go. Now just place a bit of that around the hole there. Now, did I grease that shaft there? No, I didn't. Let's just right. Now I want to grease all this here because I want everything in here to be able to move. And before I put that other piece on there, let's get this stepped bit here greased. Now we're pretty greased up there now, so what I need to do now is put this retainer on. Well, it's not really a retainer as such, but that's goes there. Right, right. Now let's get the cloth. There we go. Now the spring's seen better days, but it still works, so it'll do. Turn that round so I can get the spring on. The spring goes on there. Goes on there, and then it just hooks over the clip. See, it just hooks over the clip like that. Right. Now let's try and turn this with the pliers. Well, that's certainly working better than what it did. Now where's my knob? Need to find my knob now, folks. Let's put my knob on. Now I need to put my knob on. Let's put my knob. This is not the original knob. The original knob was broke. So there we go. That's my knob nipped up. The trouble is when I put my knob on, the damn thing doesn't work unless I pull it up like that. So let's take the knob off and hold everything together. Let's pull the clip off, and I think I know why. It's because I'm an idiot. I haven't put the washer on. Now if this doesn't work, I don't know what the problem is, but I seem to have had a lot of trouble with the speed selector on this particular record player. It's a bad design. I think it's a bad design. I think them ball bearings should ride in a V groove, not a flat groove. But the people at BSR were supposed to know what they were doing, but in my opinion I don't think they did. Either that or I've just got one that's crap. Now let's get the screwdriver. Let's move that grease so it's going to end up everywhere. Let's get the screwdriver. Now we're all in as we need to be, and I'm getting covered in frigging grease. Let's nip the screw back up. And now that did work then, so I hope it's right. There we go, folks. It needed the washer. It's amazing that, isn't it? Oh, I don't believe I just pressed on that and got myself covered in grease. Let's put a bit of grease back on where I've just taken it off by accident. Let's give it all a bit more of a coating, liberal coating here. And see, this has got a this will probably never ever see another service in my lifetime. Now, there are those of you that probably think I've over-greased this, but trust me, now, let's put a bit more on that shaft there. Let's lift the shaft. Actually, I don't have to. Right, folks, I'm happy with that mechanism. Now, let's try and find the spring. I did make a special spring, and I got a feeling that my special spring has done one. It fell off somewhere. Do you know something, folks? That spring that I replaced, it's been hanging around this all day on there, and it's not gone anywhere. Now I need it. It fell off. Right. Oh no, we're here. We're okay. Just get me pliers on, just straighten that bit out there. Right, now put that bit bit into there. I'm just hoping that this actually works. It does the job, because to be honest, I don't want to spend the rest of my life mucking about with the, that's gone in there lovely. Now I'll just check. Oh, that's popped out. Now let's just get me pliers under there. In fact, actually, I know what the problem is. Yeah, me knows. I'm on the case here, folks. I'm on the case here. I put it on the wrong way around. It goes that way. And that goes into that side. And that's come off that side now. It's a nuisance, this. Let's just bend this over a bit. I had to make this spring, and most of the time when you make something, it's folks, it takes a bit of fine tuning to get it right, but we're in that side, and up the pliers into, there we go. I mean, some of you might think that spring's a bit long, and to be honest I do as well, but let's get my pliers under this side. There we go. Now that's the neutral, that works. It now switches between, and as you can see it's moving up and down. But that moves on its own, but that's off. That's good enough. Now a little bit of grease just down on the idler pulley, on the shaft for the idler pulley, and I don't want to get grease on the idler, on the tyre itself. There we go. Now there should be a little washer there for that, which there is. Right, and I'm probably going to have to set all this back up. Because I'm going to put the motor back in. I'm probably going to have to realign the speed and everything, because it's all being apart. There we go. Now I should have 3 more of those there, yeah, and I've got all my washers there. Now another thing I want to show you, folks. Now this is the turntable, as you can see, and this is the 45 RPM adapter that you can see it locks into position. But what the problem was with this was when you held upside down it fell out, and there was 4 at one time there was 4 little washers on there that were just pushed on and the plastic was then melted. Well, what I've done, I found 4 little washers and I've done exactly what the manufacturer did. Look at that. And when I pull it out, turn it, oh, there we are, pull it out, turn it, look, it locks. There we go. Now it's just, what I want to do now, I just want to go around the rim of the turntable with the emery paper, because I just want to clean off any residue that's in there, and I'll just use my shirt because I've got to change it anyway. There we go. And if I just plop the turntable, plop the turntable platter back onto the mechanism for a second. Let's turn in the idler. Let's turn it in the off position. It's still turning it, but it won't hold it against the motor, and I'm actually quite pleased with that. There's a little bump in that idler, I can feel it. A little bump in that idler. I might see if I've got a better one somewhere. Because it is BSR, so I'm bound to have a couple knocking about, but I'm happy with the way this is turning out now, folks. I would have liked to have had that arrow indicating the speeds, but in fact, actually, I'm going to try it now, because now it's all working, it's all free. I'm going to try, I'm going to try and put it like that now, so let's see if I can have it like that. So where are we at there? We're at the uppermost, which is 16. So if I line the arrow up with the 16 as best I can, just at the top there. There we go. Now, just off the 78 mark, so we need to come back a little bit so we're actually, we're dead in the middle of 78 there. Let's see what happens. 45, 33, 16 there. Now I'll give that a nice, have a nice swing on that too. There we go. Just going to see what you're barking at. Oi! Right. Apparently he was barking at Laura's dog. Now that speed control now is working correctly. There we have. Put me giglets back on. There we go. Right, we're on 16 RPM and 33, 45 and 78. I can turn the knob nice and easy now. And since I greased that, that hasn't jammed at all. That is really going to work well. But you do have to be packed. But those of you that know how to do this know that anyway, or should know it. And those of you that know how to do it, I'm just putting a bit extra on. Those of you who know how to do it won't have to watch my video. Or those of you that know how to do it and think I'm doing something wrong, then, you know, by all means, your opinion is welcome and respected. I'm happy with that. In fact, do you know something, folks? I am that happy with that. I think that's a really good job. Now let's just wipe some of this grease back off into this tub, because I'm not going to waste any grease if I can help it, because I was lucky enough and I was able to get this grease off of a good friend of mine, and I don't want to waste it. Because I expect to get a few more record players out of it. Now we can put, someone's just fell off, what's just fell off onto the floor? There we go, wallet screws, there we go. Right, put the turntable there a minute, the platter, make sure we've got nothing under the record player, and we haven't. Let's lift the lid. Now, I've taped the tone arm down. Oops, there we go, let's lift the chassis out, the motor board. And I've knocked the bloody valve, the thing that covers the valves, knock that off, there we go, that's back on. Now we should have 3 washers under here somewhere. Yes, well, we've got one on the motor, and I've already lubricated the motor. I lubricated the motor with oil, and I did that last night. I did that earlier. I'm not sure if it's on the other video. I don't know whether you've seen me do it. You don't need to see that. Anybody can lubricate a motor. It's not difficult. Just put that there for a second. Now, I need to put the chassis back in, the mechanism back into, just like there, so I'm not putting any strain on anything. I don't want to put any strain on anything, I don't want to go breaking things and doing damage. There we go, get this all nicely lined up with the 3 holes. There's 3 holes in this and they need to be lined up. Now, when you put these screws back in, folks, you want to put them in, but you just want to snug them up. You don't want to swing on them, because you wreck the thread in the wood. So they just need to be snugged up. No tighter than snug. That's all you need with it. You don't need to swing, like I say. And make sure you get them so that there we go. I'll nip that one up a bit more in a minute because the screwdriver slipped off it. And there we go. Turn that off, there we go. Now let's lift the board back out. Now I can fit motor. We need a washer for the top of each one. Top of each post has a washer on it, and then we follow that with a retaining circlip. And these just push on by hand usually. I've found I can get these on and off sometimes, especially Garrard ones. Get them on and off by hand, just push them, they generally pop off. There we are, look at that. That one's not quite in. I'll give them all a touch with a screwdriver anyway, just to make sure that they have all seated. But that one definitely did. I felt that go in. I actually felt that click, but this one I didn't. So it did though. It has gone in, and that one has as well. And that one I felt that go in. I actually felt a definite click on it. Now, make sure we're okay there. Right, so basically, now let's take our platter, turntable, whatever you want to call it. Needs a clean. Ooh. Alright, so what we're going to do now, get our on-off knob, or tone knob, it doesn't matter which one we use. Now what we'll do now is alright, so we're on 33, we're on 16, 45 and 78. And you can't stop that turntable, look at that, it's very difficult. And there we go, turn it off. And the amp works. That cartridge is dead. You know, I have got the original speed control knob, but it's broken, and I did try hollowing it out to try and even use it as a cover just so it would look right, but it just wasn't to be. It was too much messing about, and I've got no immediate plans to sell this particular record player, but turn it off. There we go. Still a bit notchy now and again, but it does go into all the speeds, and I have put it back together how it came apart the same way. Turn that off so I don't get any worse of flat spot in the idler. Unplug that because there's nothing more I can do with that now. The mechanism's done. There's a couple of jobs on the amplifier that I do want to do. I mean, the amplifier, to all intents and purposes, the amplifier is working, but there's a couple of other jobs I'm going to call this part 2, and in part 3 you probably think I'm going to rebuild the amp. Well, I'm not in part 3. I'm going to do that in part 4, I think. Well, yeah, because I've been coming near the end then. what I'm going to do in part 3, I'm going to give you all a treat. That needs tightening. Oh no, it's just on a rubber bushing. I'm going to give you all a treat, and I'm going to rebuild this BSR full fire cartridge. That's going to be in the next episode, so you don't want to miss it, unless of course you don't want to know how to build a cartridge, or you know how one's already built. But that, to all intents and purposes, the mechanism sorted. Right folks, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all again in part 3. I'm going to get me tea, and I won't have an hour because I've got to go work in a bit. Thanks for watching. Bye for now folks.